and there's your cut. You're going to do the same exact thing that you've always done. What you've learned, you learned for a reason, and that is application. Not, my sensei used to say it all the time. What's the most important thing in martial arts? Searching my brain, he goes, oh yeah, application. It's the most important thing. If you cannot apply, then what you are learning is pointless. My sensei used to say one time, this is crazy experience. We're training the sword, and I got good. I got pretty good. So this guy's coming at me, and I'm just cracking kotes. I'm hitting people's forearms, and I can disarm them, and I'm able to deflect them, and nobody's coming close to me. And we're working with Boken, and that's a motivation for you right there. Make certain that you do get good. So we've been training for years, sword, and he comes over to me and he says, this is when he kept me ignorant to the concepts of sogobujutsu, because he was very much a you're worthy or you're not worthy, and me, I'm sharing maybe way too much with the world here. But anyways, he says to me, he says, why did you learn the sword? And I said, because it's amazing. He goes, huh. No. Why did you learn the sword? Because you taught me. Was my next answer. No. For you, why did you learn the sword? Because I asked you to teach me. I have no idea what he's getting at. No. Why would you ever learn the sword in the 20th century, 21st century? He goes, and I said, because this is a samurai art, I say, and the samurai train with the sword, and I want to train as the samurai did, so I train with the sword. So you're training something that is archaic, that can never be used. No, it can be used. If I'm holding an umbrella, I'll cut the crap out of a guy with an umbrella. I will scrape him to death. I will just deflect and I'll beat him up. And he goes, okay, so you're, out of all the times that you will be attacked at any point, are you going to be holding that umbrella every single time? No, probably not. No. And I said, but if I had a stick, I would beat a guy to death with that stick, because I know sword. He goes, oh, okay. And are you going to have a stick on you? Probably not. No, probably not. So you're learning a pointless art. And I'm just going like this.
Wow, so he's like really...
Yeah, just digging at me.
Wow.
So I'm like this. And he goes, and what I've done is, I've wasted your time for 3 years.
Wow.
And I'm like...
Wow.
He loved doing that. He loved doing stuff like that. So I'm like, I gotta come up with an answer. I know there's one. It wouldn't waste my time. This guy is extremely combative. He's always taking on fights. He's always beating me up. Like, if he's doing the sword, and I said, well, Sensei, I'm all defensive at this point. Well, I didn't want to learn one piece of the art. I wanted to learn the entire thing. And he says, don't you think you should have focused on stuff that you could apply? We just got like, he just drug it out. He just kept throwing it at me. And I got nothing. And then he sent me home like that. So like weeks later, he says to me, David, I frustrated you. I said, yes. And he says, to what end? I said, I've been racking my brain. He says, let me set you free. And he grabs, this guy throws a punch. He says, throw a punch. And he says, watch my sword. He's not holding any sword or anything. The guy throws a punch. He locks the guy up. He deflects with the man's arm so the guy can't throw another punch. So he's here. He deflects. He's in here like this, and he grips his sword. And that guy throws this other punch. He deflects with the other arm like this, turns and cut the second man with a sword. The man's arm became the sword, and he said, application is found in every single aspect of the art. And it stuck with me.
Okay, wait. I think you just gave away too much information. You guys can join the dojo whenever you want, but you must keep this information secret. I feel like you really just revealed a whole lot, but that's what we're doing this for, right?
Yeah.
So people know it's real. We train the sword for a reason, but that argument comes up so much.
Oh yeah.
I think I had the same argument with my dad.
Yeah.
He said, "What, son? I just shoot you.
Yeah.
Why are you using a sword?"
Yeah.
But it's hard to explain to old folks. And I love you, Dad, but you know, there's a reason for everything. And at the time, I didn't even know.
Yeah, but that's
why
important.
I was training the sword.
But that's important. You can't know. You know, as much as a gift that I'm giving out. Is it still going?
We're gonna play it again.
All right. As much as a gift that I'm giving out,
That's
this
huge.
is a gift, sure, but it's also not a gift because, as I stated a little while ago, subconscious training is one of the most important aspects of training, and most people don't even touch on it. The truth is that you will not, unless you're like a seasoned warrior, unless you spent a tremendous amount of time getting punched and kicked and hit and everything else, and even then, it's still probably not going to happen for you. You are not going to be in your conscious mind when someone attacks you. It's just the nature of man. When someone attacks, we get flighty. Whoa, what the hell's going on? I mean, why are you doing this? We get angry. Oh, what the heck? We get emotional. We get fearful. There's a million things that we get, but what we don't necessarily get is we don't get that. We don't get turned. It's time. We don't get turned on. There's not, unless you're training classically mukso and you're training to create a divide in your mind, which we can get into later maybe. But unless you're training this divide to where you can switch, Dave off and you can switch the warrior self on, and it becomes a switch. Unless you're training that, you're not going to be able to do it. It's going to be a gradual thing, and the punches and the kicks to your body are going to wake you up to the fact that you're in combat. Poof, poof, poof. Okay, I better do something.
Halfway through the fight.
Oh man, I better do something. Now, if we're talking about someone attacking you with a knife,
yeah, halfway you're dead.
There's no halfway.
You're right.
There's no,
All it takes is one cut.
Oh,
yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about somebody pulling a gun on you, it's no.
Yeah, there is no halfway at all there.
Well, if you could just shoot me in the foot so I can wake up to the fact that, it's going to get real. It's going to get real fast, but it's not going to get real fast enough. What we're talking about is immediate reaction, subconscious reaction. And that subconscious training happens by cross-training. But you can't cross-train wrong. When you're cross-training, you need to do the same exact thing that you're currently doing, but tricking your mind into believing that you're doing something else. This way, you can use this innate ability to brain fart, this ability to lose track of things that we all have, to your advantage. So, if I train him in the chain, and I train him in the staff, and I train him in the sword, and I train him in the knife, and I train him in a bat, and I train him in all of these different weapons, and a rope, and all these different weapons, and nets, and all these things. Then, somebody throws a punch, and he brain farts, and he does a net technique.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
Because his mind is off somewhere else. And if you think about it, how we find things, there's this little guy in your mind just trying to go through the filing cabinet. And he's most often pulling out stuff that sometimes is not related. If everything in your art is directly related, then you can't get off track. When you brain fart, one of my favorite stories that says the same thing. When you brain fart, you'll come, just to finish that thought, when you brain fart, you'll come right back to what you needed to. All roads lead to Rome. Many roads up the side of Mount Fuji, but one peak. We're going to the same place. Whether you're training the staff, that's what sogobujutsu does. It is the integration of all forms. So